So I figured I'd tell you some of the positive things that I've dealt with. Or how I've looked at the situation. My whole perspective had to change, like I said before, because I was always under the impression that if I wasn't doing something productive, I wasn't doing anything good at all. So when this stuff started happening, when it first started happening, I went from going from this like, I'm gonna hide it and pretend like it's not happening, because I was getting so many of those negative comments. Then I realized that by hiding it, I wasn't helping myself. I wasn't letting people understand what was really going on. And it wasn't helping me at all, because I couldn't really cope with it without other people helping me. Because there are sometimes you rely on other people. For instance, when you are, in a vertigo spell, you can't always rely on your footing. Sometimes, you might have to grab something to help you walk, or sometimes you need that support system. So my vision, how I looked at it had to change. And one of the ways I started to change is, through prayer. And a lot of people, they prayed for me, and I'm grateful for that. And please do continue to pray, because, God can change any situation in any circumstance. And I truly believe that. But one of the ways that it has changed is, instead of when I wake up, the first thing I say is, thank God for allowing me to be able to walk today. If it's a day I can't get up and I can't move, then I say, thank you, God, for allowing me to get up. Now let me find something that I can do with my hands. So I started looking at instead of saying, looking at everything I couldn't do, or I can't do, because there's obviously things that I can no longer do, or I can no longer do for an extended period of time. And, some of my favorite things became very challenging really quickly. I realized that hiking this summer probably wasn't going to be an option, because I can't hike by myself and expect everything to always be okay. But I could share my story. I could pray for my friends. I could help someone else who is going through something similar. I could still paint. I could still be there for a friend when they need me. I could still use my voice. Even, when it's hard and people don't always understand, I can help them understand what's going on. I can educate people on what it is that I'm going through. And no, I'm not a doctor. I have no experience really with medical situations, but other than CPR and first aid. But I can be an inspiration to somebody else. That's what my prayer is. I always wake up and ask God the same thing every morning, and that is, God, let me be a blessing to somebody today. Use me to make somebody, smile, or to bring something positive to their life, because everyone struggles and not everybody understands what that struggle is. And I don't always see people when they have, issues, especially if they're not open with them, but it's okay, because I can pray whether you tell me your situation or not. God already knows it before it's even said. So another thing that I did is I started becoming closer to God, He has changed the situation. Maybe not the way that most people expect, but He's changed my thoughts and how I think about life. I don't take everything for granted anymore. At least not in the sense of, I know my balance system can fail at any time. I know that one day I can walk fine for an hour or two, and the next minute I'm holding on to a walker because my eyes and my brain and my ears, they're getting mixed signals, and they don't know where to put my feet. They don't know how to keep me steady. But every day, in any situation, nothing is ever a guarantee. We see that in life every day. And sometimes it takes certain things to happen in order for us to really focus on what's really important. And in my case, I always struggled with slowing down. I could never slow down. I wanted to help everybody around me. I wanted to keep going. I wanted to be that people pleaser. I wanted to be perfect at everything I did. And I'm not perfect. God's the only one that's perfect. And I can't take on that position. I can't take on that burden because I'm not strong enough to carry it. But God is strong enough. And He has showed me that, we know that nothing is impossible with Him. So, I may not be able to get through the day on my own, but with His help, I can get through each day. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I can trust that He has my tomorrow already taken care of before it even gets here. And it's scary. If you've gone through this, you know that sometimes working is a challenge. Sometimes, just being there for someone is a challenge. Sometimes walking is a challenge. But I started looking at all the things I could do versus all the things I couldn't do, and that's really impacted my life a lot. And I know now that my life, maybe from here on out, maybe one day it will change, but at least for right now and for the foreseeable future, is going to be in these limitations that at one point in my life I would have looked at you and told you it was crazy that I was living within these limitations. But in order for me to heal, this is how I have to do things. And with God's help, we do heal. But we don't heal in the way that people think we do. We don't get up, and be able to take this treatment or this, medicine. I've been on already. I've only been experiencing this since January, and I've been on at least, I think, 3 or 4 different medications. Not including steroids and antibiotics to get rid of, infections and to try to calm down any autoimmune problems that may be going on. So with that being said, and they're probably about to change my medication again tomorrow, but with that being said, it's not going to change the way people think it's going to change, and that's okay. I may never be able to work 40 hours a week again. That's okay. I can still share my story. I can still help somebody, even if it's just me using my voice. I am losing my hearing. I'm okay. God has got this. He has always had this. He knew this was going to happen long before I even did. And if it comes to the day I can't hear, I can sign. And the people that choose to communicate with me, it'll be for whatever reason God wants them to. And I've heard a lot of stories about that, and a lot of people, you know, being negative about, you know, people saying, hey, you know, I'm losing my hearing. But we have to accept the circumstance that's in front of us, because that is our foreseeable future at the moment. And God is a worker of miracles, and I believe He is a worker of miracles. And if it is His will that everything gets restored and I go back to being the person that could run, you know, as fast as I did, or, you know, be able to do all the things that I used to do, then I'll be that person. Or I will, you know, be a better version of that person. But right now, that's not who I am. And that's not how I have to live my life. A lot of this, if you have a vestibular migraine situation, or any kind of vestibular disorder, or probably any kind of chronic problems, you know there are certain limitations. There's diet restrictions. There's, for instance, like vestibular problems, we have to watch how much we walk in a day. Because just because I have a whole lot of energy today, and I can, you know, feel like I can run a marathon, doesn't mean I should. Because that means if I do try to push myself too hard, tomorrow I'm not walking very well at all. And it's learning different boundaries and learning different limitations, and not always trying to live up to everybody's expectation. And that was my biggest thing, back when all this stuff first started. You know, you, the back of your head, you're like, what are people going to think of me? You know, I'm going through this. And then God showed me it didn't matter what anybody else thought. It doesn't matter what anybody else thought or what they think, because they're not the ones judging me at the end of the day. They may judge my situation, a situation which they know nothing about, but God knows my situation. He sees it every day. He knew it before I knew it, and He's going to bring me through it. Or He's going to bring me to a point where everything's going to be okay. And I just hope that this inspires somebody, that if you are going through something, pray about it first. Seek people who are willing to lift you up and not tear you down, because you do not need negativity. It's already difficult enough. You already got enough of those negative thoughts running in your head that you don't really need that negativity. So find people who are going to build you up and who are going to strengthen you. Who are going to tell you that, yeah, you may be facing this, but it's okay. He's got this. He's never took His hand off of it. And that was hard at first, especially, you know, when I have people that were telling me that my faith was weak, and I was like, my faith is not weak. My faith is strong. My body is weak. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share my testimony. God has brought me through a lot, even in the past, and it's good to even look back at all the things that He's brought you through, to remember that you can trust Him in what you're going through now. And I trust Him. And I might never be able to be that person that I was a few years ago, but He knows who He's turning me into. And I trust that whoever the person that is that I'm becoming is someone that He really cares about, because He's never stopped loving. He's a loving God, and He's not going to lead us through something for us to be torn apart. He's leading us through something to make us stronger. And this is just some of the ways that He's made me stronger. He's made me look at other people and look at their situations and not always go to that first judgment, we're not supposed to judge others, but even just, casually, sometimes in the back of your head, you look at somebody and you're like, oh wow, why did they do that? But now I don't. I'm like, oh, maybe they're going through something I don't see, but you already seen it, so I'll just pray with them, pray for them, and move on. That's just some of the things that I've been through, or that I would like to share. Some of the positive ways of handling it. And even if if you have a hard time praying, some people do, start small. Give yourself daily affirmations. Write down your favorite Bible verse and look at it over and over and over. Go find your friend that you know is going to have something positive to say. That's all for now. Thank you for letting me share.